Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what it means that God exists? It means that justice exists, mercy exists, and forgiveness exists. It means the heart can feel calm, the soul can find rest, and worry can disappear, because truth will always reach those it belongs to. It means tears are never wasted, patience is never without reward, goodness is never without return, and evil never goes unchallenged or unpunished. It means generosity rules the universe, not stinginess. And because the generous one never takes away what he gives, if God has granted us life, he cannot take it away through death. Death is not the end of life. It is a passage to another life after death, then another after resurrection, then an endless ascent into the heavens. It means nothing in existence is random. There is wisdom in everything. Wisdom in pain and illness and suffering and hardship, in ugliness and failure, in weakness and in strength. It means wonder never fades, amazement never ends, and respect for creation never dies. For we are standing before the ever-renewed masterpiece of the greatest creator. It means the eyes see with praise, the ears hear with reverence, the tongue speaks gratitude, the heart overflows with joy, and the soul is lifted. It means emotions flow freely. Every moment is celebrated, and each new day feels like a new beginning. It means we do not fall into despair or hopelessness. It means our worries melt away under God's mercy and forgiveness. Doesn't our Lord say, with hardship comes ease? That even in difficulty, relief is already on its way? What message could bring more comfort than this? And because God is one, there is no other God to break his promise. We will not be divided or torn between loyalties to the right or the left, to east or west, to the rich or the powerful. For all strength belongs to him. All wealth belongs to him, all knowledge belongs to him, and everything we seek lies in his hands. There is no escape from him, only refuge in him. He is our true home, our shelter, our support, our foundation, and our safe haven. That belief brings peace of mind, optimism, energy, and determination. It gives us the strength to work without boredom or laziness. This is the fruit of there is no God but God for the believer who truly feels it, believes in it, and lives by it. This faith is the pharmacy that heals every illness of the soul, every burden of the mind, and every disease of the heart. It is the cry of freedom that breaks chains from our hands, feet, and necks. It unlocks the hidden energy inside us, the secret that moves mountains, parts seas, and changes what seems unchangeable. Drugs may calm one symptom but damage 1,000 others. They numb the mind, sedate the body, and leave a person lifeless as though sinking to the bottom of the sea. Since God is the creator, the one who shapes destiny and directs all affairs, everything in existence is already at its best, for his work has no equal. The world is not a cruel stage of evil, but a profound lesson in wisdom, and because God exists, you are never alone. His care surrounds you wherever you go, and his will protects you wherever you are. That means a constant sense of companionship, security, and comfort. No betrayal, no loss, no loneliness, no despair. They breathe the fragrance of paradise in this life before entering it in the hereafter. They are kings without thrones or crowns, steady, calm, and unshaken by trials or disasters. This faith is the divine cure for anyone overwhelmed by anxiety. In it lies the only true healing, the elixir, the antidote, and the water of life after which no one thirsts again. In it lies the eternal wealth that never fades, the true foundation behind all the fragile currencies of this world. In it lies the compass, the guide, the key, and in it lies the remedy for every illness. No medicine on earth can bring even a fraction of this effect to the human spirit. But there is no God but God frees a person from false masters, promises forgiveness, removes fear, protects from harmful thoughts, strengthens with the support of the heavens, lifts one higher than the skies, and roots one firmer than the earth. Whoever places their worries in God's hands rests in peace and sleeps with trust. This is the state of those who live by there is no God but God. The spiritual psychology of the believer. A true believer is marked by patience, humility, compassion, modesty, and self-control. They move through life with calmness and dignity, and when confronted by ignorance or hostility, they respond with peace. Quran 25:63. You can recognize them in their quiet composure, their thoughtful reflection, their gentle tone, and their distance from noise, quarrels, and insults. They act with care, strive for excellence in their responsibilities, and are known for their honesty, loyalty, kindness, and balance in everything they do. If there is one quality that captures the essence of a believer, it is inner tranquility. This tranquility shows that a person has gained mastery over their inner world, bringing harmony to their emotions, thoughts, and desires. It reflects balance, self-command, and an ease that can only be gifted to those who truly believe. This peace is visible in the calmness of the believer's face, not a shallow calm, but a deep, steady stillness. It is not emptiness or indifference, but a serenity born of focus, clarity, and purpose. Being in their presence is like standing before the ocean, outwardly calm yet inwardly alive, full of hidden treasures, constantly bringing forth pearls and beauty from its depths. The believer's calm is radiant, rich, and abundant. Why is this so? Because their relationship with life is different. They see time differently, the past, the future, even death itself. They deal with people differently, approach work with purpose, and view morality in a higher light. From a material perspective, morality means enjoying your desires in ways that do not prevent others from enjoying theirs, a social arrangement for fair distribution of pleasures. But in the spiritual sense, morality is the opposite. It is to discipline your desires, master your impulses, and resist the pull of ego so that you rise to your true calling, as a representative of God on earth and heir to the world entrusted to you. You cannot lead or inherit the world unless you first learn to lead yourself and rule your own inner kingdom. This is the foundation of moral growth. Its primary goal is individual perfection, though society naturally benefits from it. And when a community is made up of such individuals, it becomes a society filled with peace, love, and harmony. In its higher meaning, morality is the journey out of slavery to the self and into communion with the divine. It is moving from the part to the whole, from the temporary to the eternal, from desire for material things to yearning for God's presence, the ultimate destination of every gaze. But this transformation only happens when the eye of the heart is corrected, when it sees things in their true proportion, no longer blinded by worldly pleasures, but lifted to behold divine perfection. That is why religious morality begins with struggling against one's desires, controlling and disciplining them, not with surrendering to them as in common morality. They chase after the moment, desperate for the now, but every moment slips away, every now runs from their grasp. Regret follows every step, and no matter how much they indulge, they remain hungry, restless, and unsatisfied. Such a person lives scattered, anxious, pulled in every direction by endless desires, never tasting true peace, until death overtakes them against their will. They know worldly pleasures are fleeting, mere tests that point to greater realities beyond. Life itself is only a passage toward those eternal stations. They see the world as shadow-like, and they recognize God as the only true security in both this life and the next. Nothing and no one can harm or benefit them except by God's decree. As the prophet said, "If all people gathered to harm you, they could not harm you except with what God has written for you. And if they gathered to benefit you, they could not benefit you except with what God has written for you." For this reason, the believer does not gloat over gain or despair over loss. When faced with hardship, they remind themselves, perhaps you dislike something that is good for you, and perhaps you love something that is bad for you. The death you run from, it will surely meet you. Quran 62:8. No soul dies except by God's permission at a time written. Quran 3:145. Do they think that what we give them of wealth and children is because we rush to them with good? No, they do not perceive. Quran 23:55-56. And this makes all the difference. Each outlook produces a very different kind of person. The materialist seeks quick gratification, immediate comfort, and tangible rewards, because they believe nothing exists beyond this life. They gamble with every day without guarantee or security, haunted by death they cannot predict. The believer, however, is built differently, shaped by another vision of life. God knows and you do not know. Quran 2:2-16. The believer does not envy or resent others. Instead, they pity those distracted by worldly illusions and remember, do not be deceived by the prosperity of the disbelievers in the land. It is only a brief enjoyment, then their final abode is hell. Quran 3:196-197. It is not about the fair distribution of pleasures, but about freedom from the chains of pleasure itself. They trust that God is wise, just and merciful, and that nothing is decreed except for a purpose, a wisdom, or a fair cause. Even before death, the believer stands firm, fearless, and recites, "Wherever you may be, death will find you, even if you are in fortified towers." Quran 478. Such faith produces peace of mind, inner calm, and unshakable trust in God's wisdom, justice, and mercy. Every time the believer resists a desire, they find instead a sweetness in their heart, the joy of freedom from the chains of the self, and the light of insight shining in their spirit. This is why the believer abandons the chase for personal gain and seeks truth instead. They leave behind ego and surrender to God's command. They stop running after power, status, or possessions and rest in nearness to God. And what treasure is greater than God Himself? Compared to infinity, even the largest number is still zero. Such a believer works tirelessly, not out of fear of punishment or hope of reward, but out of love for God. While others tire from working for wages or from fear, the lover of God never wearies, for service itself is their joy. Work for them is happiness. So you will never find them bitter or resentful, but always cheerful, smiling, optimistic, and grateful to God in every circumstance. They do not curse fate nor accuse their Lord of imperfection. This rare psychology is the fruit of faith in the Quran. It is the outcome of true monotheism, which unites the scattered forces of the self and directs them to a single source. One God means one center, one purpose, and one heart. Polytheism, by contrast, fragments the soul, scattering it in fear and hope between countless imagined powers. Such faith produces peace of mind, inner calm, and unshakable trust in God's wisdom, justice, and mercy. Every time the believer resists a desire, they find instead a sweetness in their heart, the joy of freedom from the chains of the self, and the light of insight shining in their spirit. This is why the believer abandons the chase for personal gain and seeks truth instead. They leave behind ego and surrender to God's command. Such a believer works tirelessly, not out of fear of punishment or hope of reward, but out of love for God. While others tire from working for wages or from fear, the lover of God never wearies, for service itself is their joy. Work for them is happiness. So you will never find them bitter or resentful, but always cheerful, smiling, optimistic, and grateful to God in every circumstance. They do not curse fate nor accuse their Lord of imperfection. This rare psychology is the fruit of faith in the Quran. It is the outcome of true monotheism, which unites the scattered forces of the self and directs them to a single source. One God means one center, one purpose, and one heart. Polytheism, by contrast, fragments the soul, scattering it in fear and hope between countless imagined powers. Faith in one God builds a unified, whole, and strong personality. The Quran, therefore, shapes not only a civilization but first and foremost a human being, balanced, luminous, and at peace with themselves. And such a person is living proof that the Quran springs from the divine source. For truly, there is no teacher like the Lord. They stop running after power, status, or possessions and rest in nearness to God. And what treasure is greater than God Himself? Compared to infinity, even the largest number is still zero.